Hi, my name is Tandin Tuli and you're watching Joburg Today.
The Gauteng province at large has been gripped by severe water shortages for weeks, which begs the question, can we still call water a human right?
Hundreds of families in the city have been affected by the water crisis. Industry experts say South Africa has in fact been water constrained since 2002, placing Rand Water under significant pressure as one of the largest single bulk water suppliers in the world. The problem, however, is that water as a resource is at the center of politics.
It's an engineering challenge, a very sophisticated engineering challenge that has mobilized enormous amount of ingenuity over more than a century. Johannesburg, the only city in the world not on a river, not on a lake, on a continental watershed divide, the epicenter of the global gold production for almost a century, a remarkable city by any stretch of imagination, is only there because of human ingenuity. But now we have to understand that that ingenuity has changed before 2002, when we still had surplus water available at national level. We need to depoliticize it, we need to deracialize water, because the technical expertise that we have is world-class technical expertise, but we seem to be embarrassed to use it for some reason, so we intend on importing engineers from foreign countries because they are politically acceptable. This is not the way to build a nation. This is not the way to build an economy. The way to build an economy is to use your resources, and not only your natural resources, but also your intellectual resources, your social resources, your financial resources, all of these different capitals that we have in South Africa. And once we start doing that, we can certainly move to a much better future.
A civil society organization, Right to Know, says it's unfortunate that political parties wrestle for power through important resources like water and electricity.
It's a human rights issue, right? And the way in which we access water or we don't is politicized, depending on who is in charge of the municipality, for instance. When we're thinking about, electioneering for the local government elections, one of the things is that you have political parties kind of wrestling for the municipality, or wrestling for the metro at least. And one of the things that happens is that you get different political factions actually fighting about it. And it's going to unfold. At least I anticipate in the next couple of months that there will be acts of things not happening in the way they're supposed to be happening, because political parties are actually wrestling for power. It's a total struggle. It's not only water, but it's also about the electricity supply as well. And part of the problem for me is that we live in a city where sometimes you don't have both.
So how do stakeholders propose we start working towards fixing water supply issues in both technical and political terms?
We now have to start applying our minds to recycling, reusing, recapturing. We must stop thinking about supplying the same volume of water at the same pressure and the same quality and the same price to everybody for all purposes, because that is now becoming an archaic thought. So it doesn't make sense to flush your toilet with drinking water. It doesn't make sense to irrigate your croplands with high quality water. It doesn't make sense to put high quality drinking water through a boiler or an industrial process plant in a factory.
What we try and do is to work with grassroots organizations, grassroots movements, to essentially try and fight for what's rightfully theirs. I think one of the things is that as a movement, as a Right to Know, what we're saying is that, one, we're urging at least local municipalities or local communities to actually, fight for political office and to stand in office and not necessarily depend on political parties for representation. What we do is to try and build capacity of local communities to try and take power and wrestle power away from political parties.
If we are going to allow water to be a scarce resource, then we might as well question the very notion of democracy. And are reasons like power outages and old infrastructure really enough to compromise the supply of water for businesses, hospitals and residents for days on end?